over on the right-hand side, and nobody is here from the industrial park complaining about their views. So, I would just say, this isn't within my power, but if you took all those trees and put them on the Larkin and the west part of the industrial park, I think that would go a long way to, make people more okay with this. And, so I think you're on the right track. And I think you got more work to do. And this is probably a bad rendering, but you need bigger trees on the front, not on the side.
Thank you.
I would agree about the bigger trees, bigger plantings up front would be, I think, a big improvement that I'd like to see. Couple other things that I did note, and some of this was before really getting in depth with the new updates, updated plans. The height limitation on building D, I think if we could get that, I believe it's A and C were reduced to 30, but D was not.
Correct.
A and
The
B?
two along,
Yes.
the two parallel to Larkin were 30 feet.
Gotcha.
And we did not change the one in the northwest corner, on that corner, and we are looking at. changing
Gotcha.
it to
I
30.
I just
Oh,
had
go
one
ahead.
quick
Yeah,
comment.
go for it.
The reason I didn't necessarily want to jump to that change was because the buildings A and B have a shallower bay depth, and we lowered the heights because they are going to be clearly not a distribution type center type building at all. And the building D has got a little bit more depth to it, so somebody might want to have an operation where they could install a few racks and maybe go a little higher. It's still a small building, you know, it's one of the smaller buildings in the whole site, but it just gives us a little more flexibility, and that's the only thing I was wrestling with a little bit with that, and that's just
Gotcha.
so you understand why
Gotcha.
I hadn't done that.
I think I understand what you're saying, and that makes sense. My preference would be to also see that one lower. Those are the three that are gonna have the most impact on residents to the west and south, versus buildings D and E, I believe, in the north, or the north and northeast part of the site. And then the last one I had, which is a bigger item, would be, and maybe this isn't as much given the increased landscaping, some of the mature plantings. I think we have to kind of absorb that and see what we're still wanting out of that. But my initial thoughts were maybe looking at reducing building A by 20 feet. I think it was mentioned in one of the staff reports at some point that staff thought a double row of plantings could get done if that was increased, if the space was increased by 20 feet, so you'd have to reduce the building by 20 feet on the west side, so cutting it to the east. I think that could potentially make a big difference too to the neighboring views and to the impact of the area. But again, maybe that's something we need to see with the changes, how much that's still a problem or not.
Mr. Mayor, I know we've closed the public hearing, but there's a resident that has raised his hand. I don't know if
Sure.
we can hear from him or not.
We'll recognize.
Sorry, I'm not going to take any floor time. I just want to point something out.
Could we get your
If we could get your name and
could we get
address
Your name and
Yes.
address for the.
on the mic. Could you hop to the mic quick, just so otherwise we don't
Just we
pick
get
it up?
on,
And you have to take floor time.
Okay.
So,
Philip Bongartz, 19949 Larkin Road. There is a property here that's a residence. It's
oh, that's right.
yep,
You're right, Phil.
Yeah,
And
there-
the creek does not follow this area. It comes behind the residence and goes along between the residence and the mini storage. Just so everybody's.
Gotcha, so maybe
Thank you for
next the removing
raising
of the
your
big
hand.
trees there.
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
But I still think we'd like to see maybe some more significant planting along Larkin, just not necessarily removing it from that eastern property line to go there.
Okay.
Is that right? That makes,
Yeah, I
forgot about that as well.
Thank you for speaking up for them. You can keep those big trees there, though.
I think those were the big things I had notes on. I did have a question about lighting, and it would, as you mentioned, be just whatever our zoning code states for industrial. Regarding signage on a building, can you, someone remind me what we allow in terms of like an illuminated sign on a building?
So signage is limited to 10% of the front elevation of the building, one sign per tenant space, and it can be internally illuminated. We do not allow cabinet signs, but individual letter signs.
Gotcha. And maybe something we'd look at depending on,
And no neon.
No one uses neon anymore.
Yeah.
That's for museums.
Yeah, we don't
It's-
prohibit neon, but I haven't seen a neon sign in a long time.
I dislike neon really bad.
but maybe that's something we could look at is
That's-
hours of operation or hours of illumination for that.
We don't get to pick.
If we're concerned about.
I know
that
we don't.
Having kind of a bleed over effect to the neighbors. And yeah, I think those are the big things, I think.
Mr. Mayor, I
Yeah.
would just, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, but I did want to note that we do have lighting standards specific to
Yeah.
signage as well.
Mhm.
You mentioned lighting, so I did want to note for the applicant that we do have lighting standards that control the brightness of that lighting, regardless of, not neon, but what it is. We do have neon standards, though, for the infamous blue light
Yeah,
situation.
I've read the ordinance.
Don't talk about signs.
I won't.
We do fall down that rabbit hole
Oh,
in
my goodness.
the past.
Be here till midnight. We
Okay.
might be there, here till midnight anyways.
Yeah.
Move to table?
Yep. My
Motion to
suggestion-
table,
I would suggest to either the November
1st?
21st or December 8th meeting. We have until December 29th till the deadline is, obviously.
December 29th?
December 29th is the
so
extended
a
deadline.
month from now.
No, 2 months from now.
2 months.
No, I'm saying that your motion, my motion, is to move it to a month from now? Is that your suggestion on the motion?
I would say either the 21st of November, so
Which is a
a
Monday.
little less than a month, 3
Yep.
weeks, or the
Because of
8th November,
Thanksgiving,
which is a little
folks.
more than.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we move it to the 21st of November.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it with the caveat, that is a Monday, folks, Thanksgiving week. Would be the next time we talk about it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Mr. Mayor.
Thank you all for coming. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just going to thank everyone for
Go ahead and thank
time and
everyone.
comments, and we do really appreciate it.
I was gonna suggest like a 3-minute break, so if people who came specifically for this
Yeah.
can go home if they want to.
We'll take a recess till 9:11, 9:12.
The good parts are coming up. You may not want to leave, but you can
Well, we
leave.
won't be offended if you do.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, everybody, for your
do it on
time
that anyway.
and comments.